Alright, what's poppin', ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another video, another trade recap. Now, I definitely didn't bring y'all a trade recap on Thursday and Friday, and the reason why is because honestly for Thursday, if I'm being 1,000% honest, I dead ass forgot to trade. Like, I completely forgot the markets even existed on Thursday. Thursday out, I'm living in Cape Town right now, so we had a bunch of stuff planned, and we went to see penguins and hikes, and I literally completely forgot to trade. And by the time I realized it, which was the time I got home, it was already like 6 p.m. over here in the market. By then, that's coming in long lunchtime. So I was like, I'm gonna take the day off. And then Friday, similar situations. Well, I didn't forget to trade, but I was just like, I'm not gonna go out my way to trade because I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So I was just like, I'm gonna take the day off. Ended last week. 3 for 3. I'll show you on my Notion if it'll load. In the last week, 3 winning days. I'll kind of give you like a little glimpse into how I usually do journal. This is my pre-market analysis, just like a screenshot of the chart and then what I was looking to see. Y'all can see here. Y'all can see here though when I look at it. So it's between bullish and bearish. I wanted to see whether or not the higher time frame gaps were going to get respected or not. Now the reason I ended up taking shorts. I took one trade today. Well, y'all can see it's technically 2 trades. This trade I entered with way too much size on accident, so I ended up closing it early and then re-entering it. Closing it early, re-entering. That's why I have a stop out position. But this is my trade though. I entered short right here, and actually wait. Let me just bring y'all back. Let me bring y'all back to the beginning of the day and why I even had that initial bias on Notion. So coming into the day, it was a little odd, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. So when we look at the daily time frame, last Thursday and Friday, we absolutely dumped, crazy. And I looked at this and I was like, damn, this is my first time looking at the charts in a couple of days. So I'm like, whoa. So I see that. I also see that we left equal lows on ES and on NQ. I'll show ES right quick. Y'all can see ES left perfect equal lows here. So I'm like, all right, obviously we're probably gonna get those. This looks like an overall. Jesus, I can't type. This to me looks like an overall sell model. However, what do we need to, why is my thing frozen? All right, what do we need to do in order to reach these lows? Price moves in cycles. Which cycle do we need to pass by before we can do this? We do manipulation, consolidation, accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and rebalancing. So what stage does price need to go through in order to reach back to these lows? We need to rebalance because we've already kind of accumulated a little bit. It's also a no-news Monday. I'm keeping that in mind as well. So I'm not like all the way anticipating on price to sell off today. I'm not fully expecting that because Mondays are not usually the days where you'll see the big move of the week. The big move of the week for me would be price selling off after we rebalance. We generate some liquidity to then go down and take the rest of this sell side. So I would look for something possibly like this. We already kind of accumulated here, possibly, Jesus, ugly. Something like this though, and then, go down and take those lows, and the rest will be history. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And in order for us to do that, I see we have this unfilled 6 hour up here. Let me actually leave this. We have the unfilled 6 hour here. That's also in alignment when you measure out equilibrium with this overall higher time frame. It's in alignment. It's obviously not right at the midpoint, but this 6 hour gap that is unfilled, that's also in alignment with an unfilled 4 hour. I'm like, all right, we might want to reach up there. So if that's the case, I'm going to be bullish. Now, why did I switch my bias and why did I go to become bearish? I also recognize that we are rejecting off of a standard deviation range on the higher time frame as well, which is also making me want to be bullish. Now, what am I looking at when I'm coming into the smaller time frame? I'm like, all right, we are in a bearish gap right now, and when you look at where price is at, you can see here we have the end dog. If it'll show, we have the end dog right here that we are showing rejection from. What else are we technically rejecting from as well? Standard deviation of Asia's dealing range. Y'all know this is a very strong area for price. SD of Asia dealing range, you can see we're respecting that. What else are we respecting? Measure out this range here. Put my anchor up and kind of clean this up some. We perfectly tap, delete this and this. We perfectly tap the point of control perfectly. So I'm like, okay, this is low-key possibly making me want to be bearish. Now it's all just stacking up confluences, stacking building blocks. That's literally all trading is. Now from there, what I'm like, all right, so what could be a possible draw on liquidity? Where could I look for a price to go to? We have an unfilled hourly gap that's also in alignment with this 15-minute intermediate low from 8 a.m. That's also in alignment with an unfilled 15-minute. I'm like, okay, what else? We have true day open down here, more sell side. London, Asia kind of accumulated, could possibly see distribution back lower. Am I fully expecting that? No, but is that a reason for price to come lower? Yes. So what am I doing? I'm just adding that on to my Lego tower of confluences and reasons as to why I should potentially go short. Now, after market open, y'all know I have my 10-minute rule. I let 10 minutes of market open go by before I look to execute on any type of trades. What did I first like out of market open though? This accumulation zone right here. Once I was seeing all of these failed wicks here, these candles failing to distribute higher, we're respecting standard deviation. Then we have this 5-minute candle here, 9:30 open, wick up here, respect these rejection blocks perfectly, and then continue lower. I'm like, all right, we're most definitely probably going to sell off here. Now, what did I not like about this? Initially, we had an SMT at this low with ES and YM. There was an SMT at this unfilled hourly, and I did not like that. I'm not going to lie. I was very hesitant because of that, and you can also see it kind of caused price to accumulate for some time. You can see we're in this zone for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes until I actually reached TP. I was in this trade for a little while, and it did have my emotions racing, and I'm going to talk to y'all about what I felt as well, because it wasn't the best thing, and I'm going to tell you everything that was going through my head. So I'm like, all right, where are we most likely to reject from after we get this expansion from 9:30? I'm like, okay, I want to see us open up on the 5-minute. I wait for 9:35 candles to close. What do? Open up on the 5-minute. So from there, I see, okay, we have this unfilled new 5-minute. I want to see us pull back into that, but what do we have right above that? A volume imbalance in between these candles here. So what am I looking for? I don't want to see any bodies closing above this. I'm looking at the 1-minute now. I want to see signs that we're going to reject this, and that is going to be my entry point. So what did I do? Delete this as well. On this candle right here, once I seen this close like this, I entered short with my stop loss at this high. Now I did end up closing and re-entering. That's why y'all seen I had multiple executions on the same exact spot, because I entered with too much size initially. I did close it right after, but entered again, same stop loss, same trade idea, just wasn't better risk management. Targeting overall this unfilled hourly. Now it is a no news Monday, and on days like this, that ended up making me take like, I think like a $400 something loss, which wasn't, or whatever it was, a couple $100 I lost there, which is a little unfortunate, but we didn't make it all back times like 5 on the trade, so not really tripping. But yeah, why was I a little nervous about this trade? So I had a perfect reaction coming out of this area. I'm like, all right, I like this, but it is a no news Monday. We have an SMT at the low. I do want to be cautious. I'm going to look to TP mainly at this low. If we have any type of possible other areas, I might look for there, but that was my main target. Now, what did I not like? Well, what was I a little paranoid about? So initially, we hesitated a little bit. I wanted to see us run through this 1-minute gap. We didn't initially do it. I'm like, all right, it is Monday. Maybe just want to hesitate a little bit, which is exactly what we did. But I'm going to give us the grace. Now, we came within, let's see here, 2 ticks from my stop loss, and then putting in an SMT with ES and YM, which did end up saving me on this time. You can see here, that was right here. Putting this SMT here saved me. I'm like, all right, cool. Our pyramid, looking to see distribution to the downside now. We closed through the 3-minute. Now, what do we start doing? Instantly rejecting back. I'm like, bruh. At this point here, I'm starting to feel my emotions come in a little bit, because I'm like, damn, I was just up, I think like a 2.2 R at this point. And seeing that reverse on me did not feel the best, I'm not gonna lie. And emotionally, I was starting to feel like on edge. So at this point, I told myself, if this trade loses, I'm getting off. I'm not taking any more trades. At first, I was trying to think like, why could this be failing? Where could we go from here? But I was like, yo, if this fails, I'm getting off, because I can feel my emotions coming in, and it wasn't a good feeling. So from there, I'm like, all right, if this stops me out right here, I'm gonna get off. But thankfully, we put in another SMT at this high with ES. Now this is the new SMT with the previous SMT high. So now I'm like, okay, that's making me feel a little bit better. and then we run to my TP. So we had these. Literally all three were SMTs here. I took out my first one here. Second partial I took at this unfilled hourly gap, and then my last one I was gonna let it run to true day open. It did end up. I trailed my stop loss once we mitigated this 1 minute unfilled gap. I trailed it to this high here, and ended up getting stopped out once price, came back up to that. But yeah, that was basically it. Now, some people may ask, why did I not go break even once we close to this 1 minute? Now, old me would have went break even here, because you can see my fill, like let's say for example was here, stop loss here. If we're that close to TP, you would think you would go break even. However, the reason I did not is because we did not sweep any major forms of sell side. We only took, little candles. There was no SMTs. There was no nothing at any of these lows where I'm like, okay, if price does come back to my entry point, I'm probably gonna get stopped out. Nothing really was telling me that price should reverse aside from that higher time frame SMT. However, internal structure was still bearish. We had overall higher time frame confluences that were also in alignment to be bearish as well. And when you see price come back to the CISD, we reclaimed it every single time. So I'm like, okay, I still believe in bearish price. Also, when you measure out standard deviation or the Fibonacci tool, you can see we are also respecting the same exact tool on the higher time frame. We're respecting on this internal time frame as well. No bodies are closing outside of this point of control, so I'm thinking, okay, we should not come higher than this. My stop loss should still be protected, especially with the SMTs. I'm going to trust it. I'm going to sit on my hands, and that is exactly what I did. What do I think? I think this is a good trade. Overall, I'm just trying to get better at managing my emotions. I think everything that I was telling myself was correct. Like if this trade fails, we're just going to get off. Like usually I have a 2 trade rule. But with this one, I felt my emotions coming in. I think just because I was already up so much, like it's a lot different when the trade just runs straight to your stop loss. You're like, all right, damn, I'm stopped out. But when you're in profit and you have chances to secure a good amount of money, and then you see price reversing on you, that's a little bit different, and it hits your mental a little harder. So that's something I just need to note and think about on how to better navigate. But yeah, that is that. We're on a 4-day green streak right now, which is pretty cool. And this is, I'm gonna break it all down to y'all actually later on, probably at the end of this week, hopefully, if we finish out this week good. But I'm on like this journey right now. I'm doing a test for myself, and that's what this is right now with my trading. And by the end of this week, or maybe early into next week, I'll be able to really update y'all and really give y'all the full breakdown and let y'all know everything that I have been planning and researching and doing behind closed doors. But yeah, that's that though. I hope y'all did enjoy. Kind of a yappier session today. Usually my sessions are a lot faster, but I did have some stuff to talk about. So hope y'all did enjoy. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Have a blessed day. Peace out.